Welcome to New Japan Pro Wrestling 2021. And make sure that's correct. Guys, this is a little late due to the fact of the time difference. When Resurgence started, it was 11 o'clock at night. And I tried to stick it out, but then I had some problems of, one, the stream I was watching was only in Japanese. And then Fightful itself was having some type of issue where the picture would just stop running. It happened to me about 3 times. I watched for the first match, and it happened 3 times, and I thought, you know what, let me leave it until the next day. Maybe I might be able to find an English stream, which was not easy to find. I did see it. I did see the stream. Well, the recording I saw did have English in it. So what I'm going to give you here, and I want to make it clear, this ain't going to be heavily detailed because I don't know the people there. No matter if they're English, Japanese, or European, don't know them. I only know the few that I've seen before, that I've read about a little bit and recognized from either from AEW, from Impact Wrestling. It looks like there was one or two from, well, one from two from NWA. I don't know if anyone from MLW, but I think the majority of them are now in the NJPW Strong. I'm messing up New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong. New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong, I think a lot of the people there were from that new part of their promotion that is meant for Americans. Now, how did I feel about the show overall? It was not bad. Matches were very good. Lighting, especially for the commentators. Now, Mr. Matthew Willwall, if I'm pronouncing his name right, former 8 in English, he was doing commentary there, which really did make it feel more interesting for me personally. I never had a problem with Matthew, when he talked when he did, I think a little bit he did of NXT, but he mainly was working 205 Live. That is where he was mainly working, 205 Live. He did do a few times at NXT. I liked how he sounded. So him being there actually gave a little extra for me personally. But I'm not going to lie. Music was messing up a lot. The lighting for at least the commentators or for in the ring was not very good. Crowd was mostly enthusiastic. Mostly. There were some very loud moments, but the American crowd was acting more of let me get to like this. Japanese wrestling and Japanese tradition in Japanese wrestling is not to really make a lot of noise at first until the people there really show their interest. I think a little bit of Americans was doing that. I think they were doing a little bit of that to show their respect for New Japan Pro Wrestling, which I'm fine with. So if you're watching this, if you're trying to understand what the fuck's going on, and you don't see the people making noise at anything at first, I think they were taking a little bit of the adoption of how the fans in New Japan would normally take, or Japan in total. They were still acting like Americans. They were still drinking. They were still being loud when they wanted to be. But I think at first they were acting very more Japanese-esque in fandom than just Americans in fandom. That's how it felt to me personally. I could be wrong, but you who's seen Resurgence can tell me below. Now, I'm not going to cover everything here. I don't recognize everybody there. So I will mention the matches and how I felt about them, but I don't really know if there's any story behind anybody who's wrestling. Now, the first match was, let me give it to you like this. Sorry guys. I had to take a minute because my throat was really itchy. My allergies are really bad right now. I've taken my medicine. I've sneezed my brains out a couple of times. And it hurt because it hurts here and here. But I had to stop for a minute to clear my throat. Now, we got Coughlin versus Fredericks and the Coughlin Challenge. Now, if I understand correctly, both these guys are from the LA Dojo, which is working with New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong, or New Japan Strong. I think I'm going to call them that. It's not the problem with the match. I just don't know the context of what's going on with the challenge. Is he doing this because, well, I don't want to try and speculate anything because I still don't know anything about this situation of what New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong is. So I'm just going to have to leave it, and Fredericks wins this. Shows respect. Now we had a 6-man tag. Now I recognize Rosser, Yuka, and I also recognize TJP in that match. No problem. So you got one person from NWA, one who has not been seen in Impact Wrestling. I think he's gone to New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong, and one who's in AEW. Do not know about the others. I don't. But the one that seemed to be really interesting, you see TJP up against Yuka. That was some good chemistry. I'm telling you, those two have great chemistry in the ring. Now, TJP and the other guy named Clark, and I think Rita, I could be wrong about the name. I believe his name is Rita. They won. But it's like, I want to see Yuka versus TJP again because they've really got something there. And since we have not seen anything of TJP, either he's out because maybe his contract expired or he has gone too strong from New Japan Pro Wrestling, I don't know. So this is all speculation on my part. I just don't know. Now, we had a 10-man tag next. And we had West Coast Wrecking Crew and Kratos from NWA versus Leo Rush, who supposedly, after they had that match, and that it was all in, supposedly got hurt, but he's wrestling here, so he looks like he's fine. He's gone back to New Japan. Maybe he'll eventually show up in AEW, let's hope. We also had Quest. We had Dickinson. I believe I've seen Dickinson before, but I think he was from MLW. I think. Because, let's be honest here, guys. The amount of guys from different promotion was either Impact, obviously. NWA, 2 guys from NWA. You got guys from AEW, obviously, and New Japan Pro Wrestling. But I think a few of them from MLW was there because I remember some guy named Tom Lawrence, who's Team Filthy from MLW. He was there, and he's holding the Strong title from New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong. So maybe he's working New Japan now instead of working MLW. I don't know. This is still just, I'm guessing here. But he is holding the Strong title from what they were saying when they were talking about it. Now the match, I don't like huge amounts, 6, 8, or 10. If you do it constantly, it pisses me off because you don't make it special. They should be very rare. When you're doing a 6-man tag, 8-man tag, 10-man tag, it should build into something. It shouldn't just be there. So for me personally, I don't really like seeing these types of matches. But I won't say the match was bad. It was okay. But then the one named Omika, Umtina. I believe I'm pronouncing his name totally bad. He's in my face. Now, he tried to talk, and it looks like he's only just learning English now. I don't think he's practiced, but he's been trying to learn English. So he wanted to thank everyone there. He wanted to show that he was going to the dojo, LA dojo, and he is strong. Fine. Then there was a guy named Kakachi. I think Kokachi or Kakachi. He came out. He's supposed to be a legend. And he said, come with me. My guess is he wants to make it very clear that if he's Oyuka or Omi or Otak, wait a minute, Omolaka, the guy who's in my face with the other guy, he wants to join him. I'm guessing he wants to join his faction in Strong. That's the question. If this is Strong or is it still just in New Japan, not the American version? I just don't know. Now, Moose versus Achi. Now, supposedly, I do remember the match. I do remember seeing it when, guess what? Impact Wrestling used to show something in Japan. Fuck. Trying to remember Japanese names have botched me up, and fuck Impact Wrestling. This was a very interesting match. 5 years before, nearing 6, Achi faced a Moose. I did see some of it. I did see Moose when he was very, very green. Now he's nearly 6 years later. Moose has changed dramatically compared to the way he was originally. And I do agree with the commentators, Moose is way more lean. No more bulk like you would be as a football player. He is lean down, he's muscled out, he's much more lighter, he's much more agile. So that helped the match. Seeing a Moose versus a guy like that's an Ichi, a lot of it feels really off because it's a little too much. The guy was standing there taking full blow hits from Moose and barely moving. The guy does not have the mass to hold against Moose. And it didn't feel 100% legitimate. But we're talking about New Japan Pro Wrestling here. This is a little bit different. Not just because you got small guys who don't sell any big moves from big guys. This is supposedly a legend. And if he's a legend of 25 years, he's not going to go off his feet to his back easily. Not just because he doesn't know how to bump. It's because he had to make sure that he keeps his reputation back in New Japan. That his own skill set to be seen properly. Because it's easy that Moose could just destroy him. In most cases, during the beginning, near the middle, Moose just knocked him on his ass like he was nothing. But he managed to come back and showed why he's a 25-year veteran. He knew how to move in the ring. He knew how to tell a story. Does he have a charisma? Counts on what type of charisma we're talking about. We're talking about compared to American charisma, Japanese charisma. Because remember, Japanese wrestlers give off a different type of feel compared to American or European or Mexican. So you got to deal with that. Now, anyone who's watching this will probably understand that. This was all about the match quality. And Ishii was not too bad. He is a bit older. He's maybe near my age. You can see he's an older man. But he did a good job. And Moose pretty much... No, not Moose. Moose put him over. I almost said Moose. Because he did dominate the majority of the match. But when you see Ichi get Moose and put him into a suplex, basically he held him for a few seconds for his size. So he's not weak. He nails Moose and he wins. Don't have a problem with it because the match quality was pretty good. He did tell a good story for a Japanese wrestler that was allowed to be a Japanese wrestler, not someone who's supposed to job his ass off like in WWE would. Now, the Good Brothers versus Moxley and Eugene Agata. Now, Eugene Agata was in AEW and going after the U.S. title, the IWGP U.S. title. He was trying to get it. So Moxley asked him to help him. I don't agree with the loss. I don't. I had this feeling that Nagata and Moxley should have won. But they are Impact stars that are holding Impact titles. And you don't want to make them job. So I understood that. But I didn't agree with it. At least until, what are they called? The Gorillas of Destiny. Which are supposedly a group that was in New Japan over 10 years ago that the Good Brothers knew about. And they faced them down in the ring. Now, will this do something for AEW or Impact Wrestling? My guess is it will. The Gorillas of Destiny will show up on possibly Impact Wrestling. I think they will. That's what I'm thinking. I could be wrong and they may show up on AEW, but I think they may show up on Impact. That's why I think they're going to go. Like Finjuice is there now. I think the Gorillas of Destiny, if that's what they're called, will also be there. Now, the match that was advertised on Impact, Dave Finley versus Jay White. And it was for the no weight championship, I believe. I keep forgetting the name of it. Now, supposedly Jay White has never, well, he was beaten once by Finley. But after that one loss, he hasn't lost to him once. And Dave has not been on the win since that one time. And from what I can tell, that hasn't changed. Jay White won. Now, what was the match quality? Because I didn't say it in the tag match. Let me give it to you like this. Dave Finley is a way better match for almost anybody. You could see how well he's been trained. Then you look at Jay White, who is a good wrestler. Yes, he is more of a high flyer. And honestly, Jay White as a champion doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. He has the charisma. He can talk well. But as match quality goes, I think Finley's better. That's just from my perception, seeing Finley more than a few times now compared to Jay. Now, finally, the end of the show. And it was almost 4 hours. It was 3 hours and 40 minutes. And this is Lance Archer versus Takahashi. Or, what is it? Not Takahashi. Tanahashi. I'm sorry if I'm botching this. You know how bad I am terrible with names. Tanahashi. I think that's his name. No, not Tanahashi. I think that's his name. Now, I've seen him before. In fact, I actually have a video of him acting as a, what is it? It's hard to be, no, the father of a wrestler, or I can't remember the name of it. The son of a wrestler or the father of a wrestler. I actually got that movie. I haven't seen it in a while, so it's been a while. But he did his own movie in Japan, which actually was quite good. I haven't seen it in a while. It's like been almost 8 months since I last saw the movie. I actually got it. But was this a good match? Yes. Tanahashi did very well. He is an older wrestler. I think he's not young. He's an older wrestler. And he has been wrestling as long as Lance Archer has been wrestling. Or at least a little bit earlier than him. And I wasn't sure if Lance Archer should keep the title or he should lose the title. Because here's the thing, guys. New Japan wrestlers have only done those matches for those titles for New Japan wrestlers or former New Japan wrestlers. If it's defended on AEW, or let's say Impact has the New Japan Pro Wrestling tag titles, or US title, or heavyweight title, it feels like the ones that are in the promotion that you're showing the damn title to, a few of them should have the title shot, other than the ones who worked in New Japan or is signed to New Japan. So that's what it really meant to me. It just didn't feel right that the title was with Moxley, but Moxley wouldn't defend the damn thing. Like when it comes to Kenny Omega, he's got the Mega Championship. And I didn't see much of the other promotion, no, AAA. I did see a little bit of AAA and their pay-per-view, a little bit. But since I don't speak Spanish, I decided to skip through whatever I was watching, the video I was watching, to see that match of Andrade Cien Momos and Kenny Omega. Now, Kenny did retain, and Ric Flair was with Andrade. That was interesting. Now, he's supposed to be with All Elite Wrestling now, so maybe he will be working with his soon-to-be son-in-law. But, taking away from what happened with AAA, here, it kind of feels a little empty for me personally, not because Tanahashi did a bad job. No. I want to make it clear. No. It's just that if New Japan is going to be teaming up with AEW and Impact Wrestling, shouldn't they be letting the people of that promotion that's showing their titles, shouldn't they be letting some of the roster there go after it, even if they don't win? It would help the company that you're working with to give them something new. Kind of like what happened with Pro Wrestling Noah when it came to, guess who? Eddie Edwards going over there and getting the title and then defending it there. Yes, it was with a Pro Wrestling Noah wrestler, but at least he showed it when he came down to the ring a couple of times when he had to go up against someone that was from Impact Wrestling. I just feel like if you got the damn title there, let some of the roster go after it. Even if they don't win, it would make sense that they would show some respect that, yes, we have your title in our promotion. We're letting you show it. We're letting you bringing our own people to your own people to it, but let a couple of our people also do it. So one, we can build a story up, and two, it'll show that your wrestlers, the one that currently is defending it, that's not just from your promotion to ours, it will look good. Now, after it was over, with the Lance Archer, he put over Tanahashi, saying, look, I faced you for years. You coming here to defend, coming after this title here in Los Angeles, no, not LA Dojo, you got my respect. I love beating the crap out of you. He did say one line that meant pain is life, and kind of like pain is life, nothing wrong with having pain, and he respect him, and then he let him have his moment in the ring and talk. He's not a great talker English. He just isn't. But he tried. And if any American wrestling promotion, let's say New Japan Strong, is going to have Japanese wrestlers there, it would be wise they speak a little bit of English, and maybe, like I've said, when it came to the Spanish wrestlers, give them subtitles when they do the promos so Americans can understand. And also, book them properly. Book them freaking properly. Do a hybrid of a little bit of Japanese storytelling and a little bit American, or just go straight American and treat them with respect and give them proper storylines, even if it's a little awkward for them. At least they know that the fans will appreciate, they're willing to understand American storytelling, not just half-ass Japanese storytelling. That's not the pure form of it. That's just me. Finally, final thing. Will Ospreay reappears. Now, I remember hearing and reading a little bit about Will Ospreay, that he got injured, neck problems. I understand that I got neck problems myself, with all my body being out of whack. And he had to go home. He was not getting the treatment, and he decided to go home, and New Japan stripped him of the title. So he was home for about 4 months. He comes back, and he is pissed off. And it's not because he just got stripped. He understood. He said it clearly. Look, I'm not against someone getting stripped of the damn title. I could not defend it. I am the type of, he's grabbing the ring ropes, I am the type that wants to defend the damn title. But you let freaking Moxley keep that damn title for over a year, not defend it? He wanted to say, fuck you. I think that's what he really wanted to do. He wanted to say, fuck you. How come he gets to keep it for over a year and I can't? Then he says the one who's currently defending the newly minted World Heavyweight Championship of IWGP, he says, nothing but a pussy. I am going to defend, and he brought out his title. That means when he went back to UK, he had his own belt. And they just reprinted one. He said, I'm going to defend this title and show the real champion who was never pinned, submitted, or tapped out. Well, pinned, submitted, or knocked out or whatever. I'm going everywhere. I don't care if it's New Japan Strong. He didn't say this, I'm just saying it. New Japan Strong, AEW, Impact Wrestling. I don't care. I'm going to show everyone and anyone that I am the damn best. So this is what we got from Resurgence. It was nearly 4 hours. 3 hours and 43 minutes. It had issues. Sound issues. Some type of buffeting problem from Fight TV. I couldn't get a stream other than Japanese at first. I wasn't able to get one. I had to wait until the next day to find an American recorded video because I couldn't get the American one. I got Japanese. I am saying this. It wasn't a bad pay-per-view at all. Good wrestling. And when I was able to see the American part, it was good. And the thing I liked, one, they used old school mics that was wired. Two, the announcer was in Japanese, which made it feel like a New Japan Pro Wrestling show. If they had an American announcing it, it wouldn't feel special. So it did feel very good. And for me personally, since I don't know the stories behind it, it makes me curious about what is New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong like. Now, I haven't seen the show, the one that aired, so I don't know how they book it. So maybe if I'm have the time, and if it's not like I'm not trying to record a Gump Report, or do NWA Power, or do AEW, or do Impact Wrestling, or remember, I've been told, please do Rampage. If I'm going to think about doing New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong, I got to know when it comes out, and if it's not going to conflict with all that, because that is a lot for me to do. I try to do 2 videos of Gump Report. I do 1 NWA Power, 1 AEW, 1 Impact Wrestling, and 1 now Rampage. That's a lot. That's a lot. And then if I'm going to do Strong, I don't know if I'll do it. I don't know. I may do a review of it and give an overview of Strong to see how people think of it. I'll try it. But as it stands, it's a lot. And you're probably wondering why there are not many images. I didn't want to do any images except for 1 or 2. Just me. Have a good day. Have a good night. I hope you enjoyed this. And I got a video done for Gump Report. And it's about Keith Lee. It's going to be uploaded Monday. Peace.